Welcome back. Now, let's talk about happenings from last week. The Federal High Court in Lagos State on Wednesday granted businessman and socialite Pascal Okechukwu, popularly known as Cubana Chief Priest, most of you know him, 10 million Naira bail with two sureties and like some. Earlier, the celebrity barman pleaded not guilty to tampering and also abusing the Naira during his trial. Now, there's more to that story because he wasn't the only one.
Cubana Chief Priest was arraigned before Justice Kehinde Ogundare on 3 counts bordering on abuse of the Naira by allegedly spraying and tampering with the nation's currency at a social event, contrary to the provisions of the Central Bank Act of 2007. He was alleged to have sprayed the Naira on February 13th, 2024 at a hotel in Lagos.
Now, however, and if you remember, Justice Abimbola Awogboro of the Federal High Court sitting in Ikoyi, Lagos on Friday, April 12, 2024, sentenced Idris Okuneye, aka Bobrisky, to 6 months imprisonment over mutilation of the Naira note. Now, he was arraigned on Friday, April 5, 2024, on a 4-count charge bordering on mutilation of the Naira notes to the tune of, I think, about 490,000 Naira.
That is correct.
Now, he was also sentenced to 6 months in prison.
Now, remember, according to Section 21 of the CBN Act of 2007, it is an offense to abuse the Naira. Joining us?
Joining us this morning. You're very excited about our guest.
Oh, yes, I am. I'm excited.
Well, joining us this morning to discuss, the difference in outcome of the arraignment, we have Mr. Mazino, no relations to Mazino, managing partner, Rose Not Solicitors, and also Mrs. Bingbe Akinfola Jimmy, creative director, Honeyballs Events, President, Party Planners Association of Nigeria. You are welcome. Good to have you guys.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Let's tell that you are a lawyer, aren't you? And of course, you're dressed for the part, an event planner.
Yes.
Good to have you guys here. We have very interesting questions for you. Do you want to start?
Oh, yes, please. I'll take the honors. But first, can I say your blouse is beautiful? The flower matches me.
The matching.
Thank you. You look beautiful.
So let me start with you, Elo. Right. Let's take a look first at the Idris Bobrisky Okuneye instance. Right. What's your take on the sentencing? Do you agree with many that it might have been too harsh, or it is too harsh?
I totally disagree in all its entirety. I think the judgment of the Honorable Court was apt. It was well delivered. And one has to consider that in the case of Idris, he pleaded guilty. Now, Section 21 of the CBN Act is express. The minimum you will get is either a fine of 500,000 or not less than 500,000 or not less than 6 months. So if he pleaded guilty, the court merely just pronounced the sentence, and it's at the discretion of the court. We cannot sit down here and begin to imagine what was in my Lord's mind when she was delivering that judgment. But he pleaded an acquittal to say he was a first-time offender and he would use his social media platform to galvanize and sensitize Nigeria. But then again, one would ask, when you are pleading, even, how did he plead? We were not there, but you would recall that it's on news that the judge has to ask him, are you a man or a woman? So if at that moment you are pleading for mercy, the person that is to sentence you does not even know your sex is a problem even. So that's just a narrative. No one can go into the mind of the mind, but such powers, although discretionarily, ought to be exercised judiciously. And I think the Honorable Court in that instance did that perfectly well.
Wow. Very interesting. I'm going to come to you, ma'am. But first, that was a very interesting input that you put there regarding the mindset of the judge, regarding the person that's being sentenced. I never looked at it that way. However, let's look at the difference between the Bobrisky instance and the Cubana High Chief instance. Now, Cubana High Chief pleaded not guilty.
Right.
Bobrisky did the opposite. Would the outcome have been different had he pleaded guilty, not guilty? That's Bobrisky now.
It's the same thing. If you pleaded not guilty, you have a day in court. Then the prosecutor, being the EFCC in this instance, will have their day in court, and the matter will go into full trial. But he pleaded guilty, and all that was left was for the court to issue out a sentence, however it deemed fit. The court was merciful because the court would have even ordered him to pay a fine in excess of 50,000 and still order him to stay in the prison correctional center for a way longer time.
Now,
so it's a matter of discretion.
If he had said not guilty.
Right.
He would have been granted bail
would have been
because
granted bail.
he's entitled to bail.
So what if he had been granted bail, he would have had another day in court
In court, yes, to prove his case.
to prove his case. And that proving of that case, what does that entail now? He has to prove that these were Nigerian currencies?
It's not for him to prove.
It's
It's
not-
for the prosecutors,
To-
the EFCC, to establish, prove beyond reasonable doubt that he did
Okay.
abuse the Naira.
Now, what is, in detail now, does that mean they have to find out if the Naira that was being sprayed in these videos that were purportedly, if they're original Nigerian Nairas, and how would that have been possible?
Not necessarily, because even handling of dud notes, fake note itself, is a problem in Nigeria. So if you are alleging that they are dud note, do you have a certification? Do you have the permit? What was the event? Was it for a movie set, a video production? What was the event that warrants you to be in possession of such Naira note? And evidence is evidence.
Interesting. Now, Judith, I'm sure we have questions.
Yeah, I wanted to ask something first to Elu. What does the sex of the person have to do with the sentencing?
It has nothing, absolutely. I said discretionary powers. If I come here to you and I'm asking for mercy, that please dash me one error, and you don't know who I am. That's the issue, because if you look at me, you can tell that I'm a man. But if I come here and I'm dressed in a certain way, you cannot identify me. I'm not saying that is the reason, but when you beg for mercy, we're all humans. When you beg for mercy, there are standards. He attended his father's burial. You ask yourself, how did he dress?
As a man.
Now, I mean, that whether or not, I don't think that, anyway, sex and justice
It was never
Well, let me
issue.
come to you, maybe. Let's look at this, right? Spraying the money, or our culture in and of itself, when you think about celebrations, when we go out to parties, money spraying is so much part of our culture. It is pretty much ingrained at the side of everything. Why is that a big part of it, especially when it comes to the event industry as well? You're in the event industry. When you go for weddings, when you go for whatever it is, there's somebody outside with bundles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like ready to exchange. You know, there's literally an industry. Why is that?
You can't talk about Owambe without talking about money spraying.
Owambe.
Yes.
My favorites. I would tell you that for free.
Yeah, and I think it's part of our culture, especially Yoruba people, and it is a sign of, how do I say it, appreciating our loved ones when they are having occasions. That is just, you just have to, that is the mentality. Let me put it down. Okay, I have come to honor your invitation, and I want to appreciate you as well. So I think I need to spray you. I think that is the general mentality. And when it now comes to the abuse of Naira, yeah, Yoruba, don't take it as if I'm talking about Yoruba people.
Oh, no, it's okay.
I think money spraying started from Yoruba. It's more or less a Yoruba culture until other people imbibe it. If I come to a party, we value Naira so much. We know what money means. So I think what the government is really trying to say about is the abuse of it. By the time you see people spraying money and people are marching on it, it is a no for us, even as event specialists.
So how have you guys managed to, are there alternatives that you guys have put in place when it comes
like we always advise our clients, and most of clients don't really want to listen to it. I know some,
that part, but keep going.
Most of our clients don't want to listen to our advice most times. They want, can I use the word of show off? They want people to come and spray them. I just discussed with the client yesterday, okay, bar events coming. I said, the thing you should do is, on your invites, can we just have your account details on it? For those that want to spray you money, they want to appreciate you, they want to support your events, can you just send it through your bank account? But in the case where we want some people, even when you put it on the invites, a lot of people will not respect that. They'll still want to come to the party to spray you. But I think we'll advise our clients, whatever it is. Whatever we do, we respect what the law says about everything we do in the event industry. You can get a bag instead of spraying it on the floor. I think that's what it's put in the bag.
Or envelopes?
Envelopes.
What is really interesting about this, and you just said about them putting their account numbers on the invitation card and finding ways to, curtail that spray.
Yes.
I know of a friend whose wedding, they created a gift list,
Yeah.
right? And they sent out their wish list link to everyone. Tell me why nobody contributed and bought it. But instead, it's not like they didn't want to. Don't get me
element
wrong.
of show-off
It's
seems
just
to be very big in our
so,
culture.
And then when I asked, I'm like, oh, I'm noticing no one is buying anything. And she says, yes, I had to ask as well, why is no one getting anything? And they said, oh, what would not happen on the day? You know what I mean? Like, what would not happen on the day? Because apparently spraying money is a side attraction.
You can still come to party to spray money, but you can put it in a bag. Instead of putting it on the floor, and other people will be matching on it. It is very wrong.
Yeah.
Let's take the side of the law out of it now. Culturally, morally, it is very wrong.
It is.
To be matching on money.
Yeah.
It is very. You know what money stands for. You know what it means. So then,
What about the
adds value.
alternatives of having these? And this also is an extension to you now, Ilo. The alternate people actually print these.
Yes, that's what I was about saying
know.
now. So you can also have this dumb money.
Vouchers.
The vouchers, they come to spray it. I think that's fine.
The internet has done a wonderful number, right? Well, I love the internet.
It's done what it does.
It does what it does. It went to dig up videos of numerous high-placed Nigerians, committing the same crimes. What's the Commission's outlook on these many instances, being raised?
So the Commission, in the press release, said is investigating a lot of celebrities. I personally feel, in my own personal opinion, that the invite out there is to serve as a deterrent. So whatever is going on, now the law did not say everybody. So 1,000 persons might commit the same act, but the law can use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as an example to set as a deterrent. Now, if you go to events in Lagos, speaking, I was in one last week, nobody sprayed a kobo. Now, it's not just spraying alone, mutilation of the Naira, stamping on the Naira, even buying the Naira. So the matter goes more than how we are looking at it. The POS personnel, because we are Lagos. Lagos is the central of Nigeria. But if you go to an ATM machine, you will not be able to see Naira to withdraw. But the nearby POS lady does have money. Are you buying the Naira? Once you are buying the Naira, they will tell you, we are not buying, we are taking charges. But the question to ask then is, why are you taking charges from the point of sale? Because that's the meaning of POS. That's no longer, you are selling the Naira. So I think the EFCC, if they want to do a holistic work, should cut across board and really look at this thing holistically and deal with perpetrators of this fraud to at least give the Naira some sanctity.
Now, back to these videos that are coming out on the internet, there's also the talk of the date when the EFCC indicated that it will start going after, I think it was February 7th, if I'm not mistaken. Is that the reason why perhaps maybe some of these older videos are not being taken into account by the Commission and why they're going after videos that perhaps have been launched since after the 7th of February?
That can be a possibility, but the law, CBN Act, the one that was repealed was in 1991, that was repealed in 2007, and unlike other civil cases that have statute of limitation, for crime, you do not have a time, so they can go back or come to whenever they want to. They have those prosecutorial power to do what they have and they want to do. So there's really no time frame about it. Maybe there's a reawakeness of it now to strengthen the Naira and sanctify the Naira for whatever reason they are doing what they are doing. But it can date back to at least 2007 when the CBN Act came into effect.
It makes me wonder, Bingbe, if, when planning these events and being there, are there people who, in spite of you finding all the ways to mitigate it and deter them from not spraying Naira, sometimes things go out of control, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
And give me those instances.
That's why we have some of our guards. At any event, you see our security guards there. So we ask our security guards to do their job by stopping them from doing it.
Right.
Yes. And we make announcement about it. But after the announcement, they will ask the guards to take over. So those are the bouncers, the security guards. They are the ones to take care of anything aside the instruction we have given.
All right, because Nigerians are really stubborn people.
Yes, they are. Very, very.
We do have
very.
some audience participation questions here for you, but this one I think is going to be for you. Now, in the many cases that might be raised, that the law indicates proper investigation that follows due process, the law indicates that there should be due process. Some processes indicate confirmation that the currency being abused must be identified as a Nigerian authentic currency. Now, remember when I was asking you regarding how they intend to actually verify if those monies being sprayed are Nigerian currencies?
So the money are being sprayed.
How will they do that? These are videos. You can't enter the video.
One has to be careful in answering this. These are live matters in court. I do have a personal opinion.
Okay.
Expressing it is easy. So it depends on which side of the divide I am. If I am for the prosecutor, I know what to do, because those videos, whatever defense you're saying, if it's a semblance of the Nigerian Naira, are you affirming that you faked it? Because if you are saying you are not spraying the original.
What is a semblance now?
Semblance.
If you go back to Big
Yeah, because I'm so glad you said this.
What
If
exactly
you
is
go
a
back now, I know there are people who try to print something that looks like a semblance, but it's not really it, because there are different designs, and instead
Maybe
of
even their pictures.
the pictures is now printed there.
Is that illegal?
You know, is that illegal as well?
That cannot be deemed illegal, because you can have a form of a voucher. So it goes to every facet. You go to clubs. What happened now is it's no longer how we used to know the clubs to be.
I don't know club, but you go to club.
I go to club. So it's not the way it used to be.
Wow, you got to take me sometime.
I'm not there.
You're not there.
But you were saying.
However it is. So unlike the days whereby you just budget for drinks, right now people budget for money to be sprayed. So it's an advice out there going out, the notification of the individuals coming to these public places, if they can get voucher instead. It can be just be a yellow paper signifying a set of sum. But it's more deep-rooted than that. Even ways to circumvent it, you might discover that you are still committing an offense. Are you selling the Naira? Because that itself is a criminal offense.
That selling the Naira part is what gets me in a bind, right? Because the reason why the POS machines and the POS agents were created was because of the unbanked. There is a number of the unbanks that we have, especially in the north and rural Nigeria, is wild. It is a wide number that, even though the banking industry as well as the tech companies are trying to close that gap, they cannot do it. And so that discrepancies like this will happen, right? And so we need to fine-tune that particular part of the law. What exactly is selling the Naira when the ATM machines are not working, when all of this are not... There's also the light issues as well. So how best can we sell it?
So if you...
Or how best can it even work?
For current trends, when this points of sale machine started, far back in the rural areas, I used to hear it. In Lagos, you go to an ATM. If you don't, this one doesn't pay you, the next one will pay you. But I'm talking about in VI, where we have at least 90% of all the banks. Their head office are domiciled in VI and they have branches. But you would drive the stretch of any street and no ATM will pay you, because those money either allegedly have been sold to these POS operators. So there need to be restriction on it. I understand this POS operating in rural areas. What about urban areas like Lagos? Why can't I just go to an ATM and withdraw money? So we need to ask these questions. Diligent prosecution and investigation needs to be done to ascertain why aren't these banks paying or funding their machines anymore? Why do I have to use the POS?
Well, we've spoken so much about this, and there's never enough time. I want to say thank you very much, Ilo, for coming through, and Madam Gingpe, thank you very much for coming through and giving us insights from your different perspectives, your industry especially. Thank you very much.